All right, so next we have the New York Jets at number 6. Basil, who do you have them taking?
Okay, so Jets are my team. I think Baker Mayfield would definitely be a better pick over Josh Allen. I see Josh Allen as a complete bust in this league. I don't think he'll do much.
Yeah, I agree. I don't really like Josh Allen as much as a prospect. He reminds me of Patrick Mahomes, but without the production, which is kind of a scary proposition. Mm-hmm. I thought it was interesting what you said about the Jets liking potential. I think I wasn't thinking about this while we were putting this together. With them taking Mayfield and taking someone like Petty, where everyone thought, yeah, this is all potential. If they learn a new system, then maybe it'll work out. And they didn't go higher because they were system quarterbacks. But I do think that Mayfield is the right pick for the Jets here. Like the Browns, they have been searching for a franchise quarterback for years since Mark Sanchez. And Mayfield, he's not a guarantee. As we know, he has small hands. He's short. But he's super accurate, he's decently athletic, and a lot of people think he could actually be a top 5 pick and don't understand why he isn't being talked about in the same league as Darnold and Rosen. And I know you mentioned Kirk Cousins to the Jets. We have another video on that where I said the Jets would be smart to sign Kirk Cousins, and he is the best destination for them, so check that out please check that out. And yeah.
All right, so for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at number 7, who do you have them selecting, Brennan?
All right, so the Buccaneers are going with maybe the best defensive player in this draft, a great leader on the defensive end, and an upgrade in their secondary, and Minkah Fitzpatrick, a defensive back out of Alabama. Fitzpatrick is capable of playing cornerback and safety, as he evidenced last year, playing mostly safety, but throughout his first 3 years, he mostly actually played cornerback, so he's a super versatile player, and he would instantly arguably be the best player on the Buccaneers defense, besides maybe like Levante David. Well, actually, no, he'd make a great trio.
McCoy.
Yeah, I forgot about Gerald McCoy. Be a great trio with McCoy, David, and Fitzpatrick in that secondary.
All 3 levels, yes. Definitely, yeah. I don't really have much more to add on that. The Buccaneers right now, I think they have Chris Conte, yes. And they have I'm blanking on his name right now. I don't know. I'm sure. Chris Conte is pretty much their strong safety right now. TJ Ward, yes, that's who it is. Yeah. TJ Ward, pretty much they just signed him off the street off the Broncos.
Right.
And he had a terrible year, actually. So I don't see them doing anything with that on safety. And then at cornerback, they're not much better standing. They have Brent Grimes and Ryan Smith as their cornerbacks. And I'm looking at their depth chart, and I'm not recognizing any single one of those names. So we'll see how that. But Minkah can definitely be maybe a Jalen Ramsey type of player.
Yeah, he'd be a huge upgrade over arguably anybody in that secondary.
Definitely.
And he's maybe the best player available at this point, if you really look at the rest of the board.
Yeah, I would say so.
All right, so with the next pick for the Chicago Bears at number 8, who do you have them taking, Basil?
So for the Bears, you're talking about a team who just brought in a rookie quarterback, Mitchell Trubisky, and so that's why we're giving them Calvin Ridley, wide receiver out of Alabama, to definitely give him that number 1 threat. They lost Alshon Jeffrey last year, and as you can see with the Eagles, who won the Super Bowl, that was a big loss for them. But Kevin White has not panned out at all, and we'll see if they can hit on this high wide receiver pick with Calvin Ridley, who is fast, very good at route running. He definitely has a number 1 receiver mold.
Yeah, I agree. The Bears have had very bad luck with receivers recently. Like you said, Kevin White was a complete bust, but he also has tons of problems with injuries.
Yeah.
Cameron Meredith is having a great season, actually, considering who he is, before he got hurt. And the Bears really messed up not doing everything they could to retain Alshon Jeffrey, who had a great season with the Super Bowl winning Eagles. Like you said too, I agree with Mitchell Trubisky. Throughout the season, I kept thinking he must be a terrific player if he's doing what he's doing with the supporting cast that he has. Because man, you would talk to any NFL fan out there, they could not name like probably any starter on the Bears offense, including the quarterback probably. So Calvin Ridley is the best receiver on the board. He would be a great help to Mitchell Trubisky's development, and it's just a perfect fit, really, going to Chicago.
Definitely.
All right, so at the number 9 pick, we have the San Francisco 49ers. Who do you have them taking, Brennan?
So the 49ers, like the Bears, need a number 1 receiver, and Courtland Sutton is a really interesting prospect. He's tall, he's been very productive for the SMU Mustangs, In a lesser conference, so people will doubt him there, and I know a lot of people are going to say this is a reach for the 49ers, but their number one receiver was Pierre Garcon, and their number two receiver was Marquise Goodwin. And Jimmy Garoppolo has a very bright future. He's a great player, and he needs somebody to throw the ball to. Garcon is getting up there in age. Goodwin is not a starting receiver. And Cortland Sutton has the potential to be an excellent player. I'm high on him as a prospect, personally.
Yeah, definitely. We're talking about Jimmy Garoppolo, who led them to what I think it was 7 straight wins at the end of the season, with a complete, not a good starting cast around him.
Supporting cast. Yeah.
Supporting cast. They didn't have a good offensive line. They didn't have good receivers. They didn't have a good tight end. And to give him a tool like Cortland Sutton, who can definitely is high point the ball. He's big. He's still fast too, though.
Yep.
He can do it all. And I think that would definitely help Jimmy Garoppolo, and he would very much appreciate it after that big pay he just got.
Right. Sutton is he's built in that wide receiver one mold, being tall and being able to high point the ball. He'd be a red zone threat immediately. He might not run routes as well as Calvin Ridley, but that's kind of Calvin Ridley's specialty. So they're different. I actually think there's going to be a bigger argument leading up to the draft over who the number one receiver is. But when you invest so much money in Garoppolo like the 49ers did, just like with the if the Broncos decide to invest in a quarterback, you got to give them support. You got to draft players and sign free agents for those players to ensure their success, and getting a number one receiver is a great start for the 49ers.
All right, so Basil, who do you have the Raiders selecting at the number 10 pick?
So with the Raiders at number 10, we decided upon Connor Williams out of Texas, the left tackle. So essentially what they just had, Oakland Raiders were projected to go to the Super Bowl, win the big one, and they fell flat on their faces. And a lot of that had to do with they had very good guards in Gabe Jackson, Kelechi Osemele, and they have that good Rodney Hudson in the middle. But their tackles were not up to par, and giving them Connor Williams could definitely help Derek Carr and definitely help the Raiders come back to the playoffs after a terrible showing last year.
Right. Yeah, the Raiders were an extreme disappointment this season, which is why they had to fire their head coach. Connor Williams, it will help. I think, all right, so Derek Carr is a pretty thin, frail quarterback, and if he gets hit hard too many times throughout a season, he is definitely going to be prone to injury. The Raiders have to know this by now, considering Carr missed all that time. And investing in a left tackle is just a really good idea for Carr. They just gave him a huge contract as well. And their left tackle situation, I believe, is
Donald Penn. Donald Penn. Yeah.
I mean, either way, Connor Williams might be the best offensive lineman in the draft. So he might be a good investment for the Raiders here at number 10.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so at the next pick, we have the Miami Dolphins at number 11. Who do you have them taking, Brendan?